Dear student friends, I'm Dr. Godbole Mahendra Tukaram welcoming you all in my today's presentation. This today's presentation is a part of the reworking of the earth, and in this reworking series of the earth as a byproduct of the reworking of the earth, that is Ural mountain. I'm going to discussing about the Ural mountain. It is a 2,500 kilometer long, which starts from the Arctic Ocean and it ends to the Kazakhstan or the Siberian Craton. So this is the longest mount. This is a very long mountain, and this is the steppes of the Kazakhstan. Okay, so what is the extension of this mountain? This mountain was formed from the Arctic Ocean at the northern region, and it ends at the Kazakhstan and the Siberian Craton. The south forming the traditional boundary between the Europe and Asia. This is separating, this Ural mountain is separating Asia and the Europe. Okay, so the Himalaya is like this, east to west is trending, and the Ural mountain is running like this way, that is north and south, right from the Arctic Ocean at the north, and it ends at the Kazakhstan or the Siberian Craton up to Kazakhstan or Siberian Craton. While talking about the tectonic collision, it was formed around 2,500 million years ago, that is a late Paleozoic. The age of this Ural mountain or the mountain orogeny, which ranges approximately 275 million years onward, and this is known as the Paleozoic era. The Ural orogeny is also known as a Hertzian orogeny because the massive collision took place. The massive collision occurred between the Laurentia as the old Europe. The Laurentia means the old Europe, and this collision was between the microcontinent of the Kazakhstan and the Siberian Craton, and due to the collision of the convergent plate boundaries as a microplate of the Siberian and the Kazakhstan Craton and the Laurentia as the old Europe, and this resultant, let us take an example. This is a Laurentia, this is a Laurentia, and this collision was takes, this is a Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is colliding to the Laurentia, and ultimately byproduct was the Ural mountain. Okay, the collision folded and uplifted the earth crust. The tectonic collision or the convergent plate boundaries in the sense of the collision between the Laurentia as a old Europe and the microplates like the Kazakhstan and the Siberia, they were collided with each other, and this landmass has been uplifted or folded, and this mountain is formed 250 to 300 million years ago. The age of this mountain is at 250 to 300 million years. The Ural remains and well preserved because they still sit on a deep, strong crustal root. So what about the endurance and the sustaining of this mountain? The root cause of the sustenance of this mountain lies beneath the core of this mantle. It is because it is having a well preserved roots, okay, deep strong crustal roots. Those are the granitic rocks, and those are very strong. While talking about the age limit or the age span is 250 approximately to 300 million years, and this is supposed to be the Himalayas. This mountain is more older than the Himalaya because Himalaya is the old youngest fold mountain belt in the world. While talking about the types, it is a fold mountain and a collision between the continent, and this is a deep, strong crustal roots and still supporting the range. That's why it is not going to withering, it is not going to disintegrating very easily. This Ural mountain, if it is running from the Arctic Ocean to the Kazakhstan or the Siberian plateau, so which is supposed to be having different 5 zones, and those zones are at the zones which are also situated the elevation wise. The southern Urals, it is a parallel ridges mixed with a broad leaves and a coniferous forest. At the bottom of this, or at the southern sides, we find the southern Ural, where the broad leafed forests or the plants are existing, and the central Ural, this is the central Ural, and this central Ural is known for the lowest lying sections in smooth, rounded and heavily eroded peaks. Although the mountains, although the Ural mountains roots are supposed to be strong, but still the different limbs of this folded belt, these are the limbs. Any folded structures can have the 2 limbs, okay, and those limbs are going to eroding like during the long period of time. Periodic erosion is taking place by means of different kinds of the agents like in rainfalls and weathering, transportation, depositions, as well as many physicochemical and the variation of the temperatures may be cause for the disintegration of the different limbs of this that mountain. The third is a northern Ural. It is a vast taiga, that is a broad leaf of the forest, and this is known as in boreal forest. It is in high rocky summits. There are the different the rocky summits, the peaks which are supposed to be interconnected, they are interlinked. And the second, or if you are moving from this low or from the south to the north, from the the upper side, second, or right from the south as a second rank, fourth ranked, that is a neither polar Urals. Neither polar Urals were the alpine environments with the highest peaks, where the mountains Narondana, it is a 1895 meter, is situated. That is a Narodnaya, followed by the polar Urals. It is a northernmost, or the tundra covered within low rounded hills. In a tundra region also, in the northern region, we find the tundra, okay, the tundra region. While talking about the geological structures and the lithology, while talking about the geological structure and lithology, we find that this is the western slopes and the eastern slope. The western slope is known for the limestone and the sandstones from shallow ancient seas. Sandstones and limestones situated at the western side, as well as karst topography in high developed in gypsum caves and underground streams and sinkholes are common because of the interactions of whatever the groundwater or the surface water is going to percolating with the surrounding area. And if the topography is supposed to be prone for in hydrology or for in water, then it creates the underground streams and sinkholes that will be created as a caves may be created. And the eastern side is known for the igneous and metamorphic rocks. Western side is known for the limestones and other gypsum and other the rocks or the minerals. Those are very prone for the erosion, whereas an eastern side is known for an volcanic basalts and gabbros and metamorphic rocks. Gabbros as well as a volcanic basalts, and the along with the volcanic rocks or the volcanic basaltic rocks and gabbros and metamorphic rocks, and that is a dominates. Those are the dominates, whereas in favor karst features and deep cores and the minerals deposits are frequently outcrops. So the as compared to the western slope, the eastern slope of the Ural is very good, and it is a source for the minerals as well as the ore bodies. While talking about the minerals wealth and the economics, what are the minerals which are situated in these regimes? The minerals are minerals and metals and non-metals also, or the gems, as well as in fossil fuels and industrial minerals are very prominent in this region. While talking about the mineral wealth of these Ural mountains, it having an iron ore and copper, as well as the chromite and bauxite, gold, platinum, and rare minerals. Those are comes in the category of the metals. While talking about the non-metals or as a minerals, the gemstones for in beautifications, emerald and topaz and amethyst and an aquamarine and garnet. Those are also prominent in the region of the Ural mountains. That fossil fuels are very important for industrial development, and since the 18th century, this is a very important exploitation is took place, exploited the different minerals. In case of the fossil fuels, the petroleum and natural gas and coals, those are in Kama River area and the western slopes. The western slopes is having the iron, that is in oil. Oil is prone to the western slope, and then industrial minerals and manganese or the magnesiums and in asbestos, and those are historicals, then limestones and then talc. These are the minerals which can form at in high pressure and high temperature region. While talking about the geological fossil, geological cross sections, if we are moving from west to east, we will find the sedimentary rocks. The sedimentary rocks were encountered first during the collisions or in tectonism, and then central region were uplifted. This uplifted central regions as a crustal roots which supports to the long endurance of these Ural mountains. Coming to the western side, the igneous and the metamorphic rocks. Coming to the eastern side, the igneous and metamorphic rocks, as well as the East Asia side, we may also have the the volcanic and metamorphic rocks and basalt and gabbros and schist. Basalt, gabbros, and schist, those all are the volcanic as well as the metamorphic rocks. This basalt is an igneous rocks or the volcanic rocks, and gabbros, while schists are the metamorphic rocks. While talking about the stages of the development of the chronological situation or the chronological history of the development of the Ural mountain, before approximately 350 to 300 million, that Laurasia and the Kazakhstan far apart. So the Kazakhstan and the Laurasia as the older Europe, they was distantly located. But what happens in the next stage, as a collision begins, when the collision begins, approximately 300 million years to 290 million years, during that period the continents collides and ocean close. So these continents and the oceans, those continents as a Laurasia and the Kazakhstan or the other small plate, that is a Siberian microplate, were collided towards each other during the approximately 300 to 290 million years ago, and then mountain building took place, the crust folds and faults and uplifted because of that collision was took place between the Siberian and the Kazakhstan plate, as well as in Laurentia we can call as an older Europe. And the fourth stage is known for the erosion and preservations of 250 million to the present. So as I already explained about why the Ural mountain is enduring, why the Ural mountain is still existing, it is because of it is having a strong roots, and those strong roots are in a deep crystals rocks, those supports to the Ural mountain, and the mountains erodes but remains high due to the deep roots. Ural mountain are having the deep roots, and those deep roots are made by the either a volcanic, metamorphic, or the associated rocks, maybe the basalts and gabbros and schist, as well as the limestones, dolomite and sandstones, but those are more prone as compared to the basalt and gabbros and schist. Hence, the different karst topographies appeared for the western side. While talking about the last portion, that is a biodiversity and the climate as well as a biodiversity of the Ural mountain. The tundra and alpine orogeny is existing along the side of or in the regime of the Ural mountains. Taiga forest is also known for their beauty, and the southern steppe, which is also having a segregated or the eroded mounts. Why are we, why for us the Ural is very important? It is because of the natural boundary between the Europe and the Asia. It is very important biodiversity zones. The rich minerals that builds in industries and cities, those indigenous or those the earlier inhabiting communities which are converted into a very bigger cities or the hub of a different industrialized regions, and in records of an ancient supra continent collisions. It is also preserved rocks during the Paleozoic age. And the key to understanding the earth tectonic history, we may able to understand the key tectonic history, what happens between the Laurentia as an old Europe and the Kazakhstan and the small or the micro Siberian plate. That history's information is stored in the forms of the lithology or in the rocks. And still the geodynamically stable within deep crustal supports. So this Ural mountain is still supporting by the deep roots of the gabbros as well as the schist and other metamorphics as well as an igneous rocks. These are the roots of the mountain. And the another important features we may talk about the biodiversity or the animals. Those are in the elk and brown bear and in lynx or the malvarines and reindeers. Okay, these are and many birds which resides in this beautiful scenery. And this is all about the mountains, and those are memory of the earth, and read them and you read the past. So this information can give us the past history of the formation of this Ural mountain. Thank you.